so you might know this show. All right, let's just get a little bit of that. Hawa. Hey, pura vida family. I hope everybody's doing good. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for all the support. Always, much love and respect to everybody out there, all the tribes, the Amarukans. Hope you like this video. Just gonna go over some old links I had here stored. I just want to get them out the way. Just get this information to you. I've been holding them, but I just want to get rid of them. And also, we continue with the book of North American tribes, chiefs, and warriors. All right, some more tribes, and take a look at them and some of the images and some other info. A lot of different info we're gonna discuss. In this video, so I hope you guys like it. Thanks again for all the support. I got much love for everybody out there. All right, I'm gonna keep doing this and bringing more info. We got a lot of videos coming still. All right, so let's go ahead and begin. All right, we're in this website, this link that I had saved here for a while. My early days. It says Uncle Dale's reading in early Mormon history. It says Philadelphia newspapers from 1800 to 1829 articles. All right, so we're gonna go to a part that we're interested in, down all the way over here. All right, so this is from the Saturday Evening Post. We actually got this before one of my videos. All right, this is from Philadelphia, June 7th, 1828. Volume 7 of the Saturday Evening Post. All right, you can look it up. And this is an article written about Professor Rafinsky, the book he wrote about the Aboriginal Americans. All right, so it says first letter. All right, so he talks about, you appear the series to learn something more of my researches on the ancient and modern history of North and South America. I feel willing and happy to be able to answer your inquiries and even to suggest perhaps some new facts. The continent of America has ever been the field of philosophical delusions, as Africa of fables and monsters, and Asia of religious creeds. All the various systems and theories of monks and philosophers on the origin, climate, and inhabitants of America have been repeatedly destroyed by facts. All right, facts. And yet they find to this day many believers. All right, so he's saying basically what's going on today, right? We can destroy all these theories and all these Pan-Africans and all this stuff with facts, but they seem to all still have a lot of believers, right? They still got people following them, believing what they're saying. To this day, they speak and write of the red man of America. Well, there's not a red man. No, never was. He's talking about crayon color. He said you can't just call people crayon color in this continent. To this day, they do attempt to separate the American languages from all others, while their roots and structure are exactly like many in the Eastern continent. When we are led by systems, or do not investigate and compare subjects in all their bearings, we are apt to fall into these delusive mistakes. But whoever will take the trouble, as I have done, to compare the features, languages, religions, customs, and all the nations of the 5 parts of this world, Asia, Europe, and Africa, Polynesia, and America, will find, as I have found, that mankind is a unity with many deviations of features, complexions, languages, religions, governments, civilizations, all derived from single primitive types of those effect and a common central focus. All right, so this is again Mr. Rafinsky's writings to Dr. J. McCullough of Baltimore. All right, a letter he wrote. All right, now he says, listen to this. To evince this result in a single but striking point, doubted to this day by superficial inquirers, it is sufficient to mention that there were in America, before Columbus came, nations and tribes of the following complexions: coppered, all right, coppered, tawny, all right, olive, dusky, white or pale yellow, all right, even light-skinned people over here, dark brown, all right, so look, copper, tawny, olive, dusky, dark brown, and what? Black. All right, all the shades, all the colors, right? Here in America, the stronghold of the copper-colored races, right? We got that too in another book, The Races of Men. All right, but none red unless painted. And that all these complexions are also found in Asia and Polynesia and in Africa. All right, so you find white in Africa, all right, too. All these complexions. It's not just a black continent in Africa. All right, the Native American Negroes or Black Indians, all right, have been seen in Brazil, Guyana, Caracas, Popayan, Choco, North California, and some of them, such as the Auroras or Caroras of Cumana, were black, but with fine features and long hair. All right, like the Yolos and Galas of Africa. All right, just like the ones in Africa. What? They had fine hair. You saying there's no tribes over there in Africa with long hair, fine and long hair? That's you, assuming things and thinking that everybody in Africa looks the same. So that's why all you people who use all these, oh, but their hair is not the same. There's people in Africa that have long, they're black too. You don't say nothing to them. You're not calling them Mongols, right? Others in New California, latitude 32, called Esteros, are like the Hotentots, Numuquas, Tambukis, and many other Negritian tribes. Not black, but dark brown, yet complete Negroes. What does that mean? All right. They're not like mad dark, but they are dark brown, yet they are complete Negroes. All right. Don't mistake that. All right. With large, thick lips, broad, flat noses, and very ugly with hair crisped or curly. All right. He don't like their hair. The Negro features belong to the form of the head rather than the color. Since they are in Africa, Asia, and Polynesia, black, brown, yellow, olive, coppery, and even white Negroes. White Negroes in Africa too. Alright? The American Negroes of Curancua and Choco, I believe that's in Ecuador. Alright? The Great Level Plain, 900 miles long, 90 wide, separating the Andes of South America from the mountains of Panama, yep, were black. Alright? The Curancua Hua were black and with woolly heads. All right, black with woolly heads. But Kurimeo, you keep talking, keep only showing. Man, we're talking about 15, 1600. Ain't no cameras back then. They started calling you Negro. They took you from Curancua, Ecuador. They brought you to Jamaica, to the colonies, South Carolina, to Massachusetts, to all these things, and they started calling you a Negro. Then years later, they started writing stories talking about you came from African slave ships, but you were always in America. These are other tribes, other Negro people that came up during the time they were, the Spanish, Portuguese. We already know who they were enslaving. We got the accounts. They were all over the Americas taking Indians by the thousands. All right. They are mentioned by Dangleria and all early accurate writers. All writers in these. I have the books. I have the original books written by these people. They got scanned at the libraries. All right. We have the PDFs now, and these books tell you who they were encountering. All right. That's what he's letting you know. Always they describe people that you would call Negro today. Always. All right. They are mentioned by Dangleria and all early accurate writers. The last two travelers who have seen these Negroes are Stevenson, 20 years travel in South America. All right, we're gonna get in that book. All right, and Molian travels in Colombia. All right, we're gonna get into those two books if we haven't already. Stevenson says that the Indians of Manabi, comprising the districts of Esmeraldas, Rio Verde, and Atacamas on the seashore of Popoyan, are all Sambos. What does that mean? And produced by a ship full of Negroes who came in the country before the Spaniards. Alright? See that? Killed the former inhabitants, kept the women and formed a mixed race. They are all tall, of blackish color, with soft curly hair, large eyes, flat noses, thick lips, and while the true Sambos, or modern offspring of Indians and Negroes, are of a deep copper color, with thick hair not curled, small eyes, sharp noses, and good lips. Alright? It says in Molian, the following notice is found: 2 Indians of Choco, whose true name is Guana or Chuana's nation, the Guana, where Dangleria's Negroes were found, are very ugly and black. Alright, they're racist, right? They're gonna call you ugly and black, and their language harsh and rough. Some words are given which may be compared with other Negro languages. For instance, man e mejora, woman de cupera, amba numi compa ayapa konambi. Alright, now we're going to see the Flathead, our Salish tribe or people. Let's read what their information is, what region they were from. It says, the Confederated Salish or Kootenai tribes of the Flathead Reservation are a federally recognized tribe in the U.S. state of Montana. The government includes members of several Bitterroot, Salish, Kootenai, and Pent Odeorelis tribes and is centered on the Flathead Indian Reservation. Alright, so we got this image right here. It says 2 Flathead Indian males taken in Montana about 1905. The male of the left has a headdress made of porcupine hair. Alright, that's porcupine he got in the top right there. Alright, porcupine. Alright, flatheads. Alright, got another image right here. Some more aboriginals. It says this is left to right, John Evans. Alright, him, just John Evans right here. Alright, these are so-called Negroes. You can't deny that. Look at them. Alright, this is Michael Kaiser right here. Michael Kaiser. Alright, Patrick Finley over here. Alright, Patrick Finley. And Antoine Finley. And Antoine Finley. Alright, flatheads. Alright, you see this? Today these people would be classified as African American today. Look at their, maybe I'm just bugging, I don't know. Alright, got their whole outfit up, they're fringed up as well. Alright, with their headdresses. This is pictures from 1906. Alright, Flathead Indians. Alright, name they got given probably. Alright, this is Ato M. Elem We Shilk Me, aka Chief Eagle, a Flathead 1906. Alright, look at his headdress. Nice, his feathers. Look at that. Alright, Aboriginal, indigenous. Alright, Chief Eagle. Alright, we're in this next link I have here. Well, we've gone into this book a lot. We're gonna continue. I got the whole book thanks to a brother. He sent it to me. When I read it, I'm gonna shout him out, make sure everybody knows. He actually went and bought it, and then he scanned it all and he sent it to me in PDF form, because I told him that, you know, I don't think we have the full book yet. We only had a couple chapters here and there, and now, you know, we got access to it, so we're gonna start reading from that a little bit more. But this link actually has something very interesting. That's why I saved it, and this was a while back. And again, this is the book Africans and Native Americans: The Language of Race and the Evolution of Red Black Peoples by Jack D. Forbes. All right, and then we're in this part of the book. It says in the 1800, 1810, 1820, and 1830 censuses used the free persons of color category for most non-whites, including Indians. All right, including Indians, free person of color, anybody who's non-white. Thus, the native families of Robinson County, North Carolina, and all Virginia counties are always classified as colored persons. Always. Carter Woodson, the free Negro heads of families in the United States in 1830. Being an indexing of the free colored population includes many thousands of Indians. All right. Again, if you know that, go check it out. That census, we're gonna go look into that and dig into it. All the genealogists out there, all the brothers doing genealogy, check out Carter Woodson's The Free Negro Heads of Families in the United States in 1830, because a lot of that free colored population includes many thousands of Indians. All right. For example, the entire Cherokee Indian population of Carroll County, Georgia, was included as colored persons. Colored. Remember who they calling colored in the 60s? The segregation laws, colored only. All right, with names such as rattlesnake, ekoa, wata, that water, tanekulehe, wasota, Keisha. All right, Keisha, the Quiche Maya, Keisha, or we already know who's named Keisha Moore. All right, who uses that? Widow Swimmer, Pumpkin Pile, Charles Van, and so on. One also finds people like Stephen Jumper in Rockingham County, North Carolina, Charles Moose in the same county, and Indian Bill of Westchester County, New York, classified as people of color, along with the general Indian population in county after county. All right, so that was this link in this page. All right, we're gonna get into that book. All right, so this next link, I guess I like some of these images. Well, let's talk about this one first. All right, you see this? The Wild Man. It says Cigarette Fabrique, a cigarette factory. It says Amsterdam, but they got the Aboriginal in their logo. Alright, who they're depicting right here? You see that Indian? American Indian? Alright. Alright, then we got some other images right here. You see this, the wild man, the wild man. But that's, Aboriginals here from America. They're getting the tobacco from here, obviously, right? They got you growing it. All right, they made you grow it. I mean, they're not gonna bring Africans here. They don't know how to grow tobacco. That's an American plant. All right, and then we got this image right here. We've seen this one a lot. All right, who's this? Queen Khalifa? Who's this? The emblem of America. Where is this found? Let's go to the website real quick. All right, this is in the British Museum site, website. All right, an emblem of America. It says allegorical figure shown full length, standing to left, head titled to right, wearing a leopard skin. She's in America. She's wearing a jaguar skin. All right. Let's see how they try to hijack everything. They try to say it's allegorical, but we already seen who's the real American Indian, right? Why would they paint this allegorically? Huh? An emblem of America, right? Alright, so now we're gonna talk about and show some images of the Mashpee Indians. So Mashpee Wampanoag, alright, part of the Wampanoag tribes. And it says the Mashpee Wampanoag Indian Tribal Council, Inc., formerly known as the Mashpee Wampanoag Tribe, is one of the two federally recognized tribes of Wampanoag people in Massachusetts, recognized in 2007. They are headquartered in Mashpee on Cape Cod. The other tribe is Wampanoag Tribe of Gayhead, Akina, or Martha's Vineyard. All right, these are the original people from these places today. A lot of these places are what you would consider suburbs, and mostly pale faces there, descendants of Europeans, but these are Aboriginal lands in Massachusetts. In 2019, the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe consists of more than 2,900 enrolled members. In 2015, there are 170 acres in Mashpee and an additional 150 acres in Taunton, Massachusetts, were taken into trust on their behalf by the U.S. Department of Interior, establishing these parcels as reservation land. All right, and it goes into the history. We know how they was being referred to as colored people. We've already seen this in my Aboriginal series, from indigenous American to African American. All right, the Mashpee people. So there's a lot of info here. Make sure to read that. Let's go to the images. All right, so we got a group picture here. It says the Mashpee Wampanoag, Cape Cod in 1929. All right, and I actually got a video of this same people doing the exact same thing, same day. This guy smoking the pipe. We got the video of them doing this in my past video. Make sure to go check it out. What do you see here? So-called Negroes. All right, passing around the pipe. Do you remember who you are? All right, you see this? All right, he's about to pass him the pipe. All right, you see this? These are the Mashpee Indians. All right. A lot of them would be considered African American today, or Hispanics, or Caribbean people, black, colored, all right? But these are American Indians from Massachusetts, Mashpee, all right? As you can see, indigenous Americans. In Massachusetts, this is what the Pilgrims encountered. This is all the people that are getting enslaved, sent to other parts of the to the Caribbean, other parts of America. All right. Can you see her? All right. You see him? Mashpee Indian, copper-colored tribes of America, Aboriginal. All right. Aboriginals. See the symbol on him? Looks like the Nazi symbol, right? But that's an indigenous symbol. The four corners, the four suns, the four winds of the earth. All right, the cross, the Taf. All right, cardinal points across the ley lines. All right. He's like, "What's up?" All right. Do you remember who you are now? And this is a close-up of the Mashpee Wampanoag chief, in Cape Cod, 1929. All right. With his horns and his headdress. And this is Rain in the Face. Ambrose Pels, a Namasked Mashpee Wampanoag, 1932. Wampanoag. These are the people the Pilgrims encountered. You see this? He would be considered an African American today. This is a very old picture. Alright. Well, it's 1932, but it's not in good shape. Alright, but look at his whole head, his dressing, look at his feathers, cool feathers. Alright. A chief rain in the face, Ambrose Pels, look into him. Alright. Copper-colored tribes of America and Aboriginal. This is an Aboriginal of Massachusetts. Alright. Did they ever show you an Indian? Did they show you the Pilgrims encountering so-called Negroes like this in school? Alright, a chief like this. Then we got this individual here is James Mai. It says Mashpee Wampanoag, Cape Cod, 1860. Alright. I'm assuming he got his top hat. So-called Negro with his top hat and suit, but he's a Mashpee Wampanoag. He's a Mashpee Wampanoag Aboriginal. Alright. They never show me an Indians like this. Cause then I would have been like, whoa, he's kind of dark skinned. We don't look like the ones in the movies and Disney and stuff when the Pilgrims encounter. That's what I would have told my teacher. Alright. Alright, now this is Serbia Gold Mitchell. I've shown this image a lot. Wampanoag from 1807, 1898 she lived. Descendant of the 17th century Sakan Massasoit. She's a direct descendant of Massasoit, Chief Massasoit. Alright, aka Uasame King. He lived in 1581 to 1661 when they were over here basically colonizing. Alright, Massasoit was trying to be good with their colonists, so they wouldn't hurt his people and everything, but then they betrayed him, and he helped him a lot. So his son Metacomet, alright, King Philip was like, oh, I'm going to war with them. Alright. Massasoit, alright. Serbia Gold Mitchell, you see that? Like your grandmother. She's a direct descendant of Massasoit. Alright. She would be considered an African American today. You see this picture, and a lot of you probably would be like, oh, who's that? Who's that so-called black person or a black lady? Alright. And this is Betsy J. Oakley, an Attaquin Mashpee. From 1821 to 1898 she lived. Alright, again, Betsy Oakley. Grandma right here. Today would be called an African American. People probably think this is a slave. Alright, when they see an old picture like this of a so-called Negro lady, alright, during that time. Alright, did they ever show you an Indian like this? Did they tell you this is what the Pilgrims encountered? Because this is what the Pilgrims encountered. That's what I'm trying to make you realize. Alright, a so-called black lady, right? That's what the Pilgrims encountered. But this is a Mashpee American Indian, an Aboriginal of Massachusetts. Alright, again, her name Betsy J. Oakley. Look into her. You can see she's a pure blood Mashpee Indian. They consider her colored. Alright, an African American. She has no mixture with slaves or Africans though. Alright, that's your own hijack. You need to prove that. Because in history she's written down as a pure blood Indian. A pure blood Mashpee Aboriginal of Massachusetts. An Aboriginal of Massachusetts. Alright? Aboriginals in Massachusetts. Yes. So-called black Aboriginals in Massachusetts. Alright? It's grandma right there. Alright? This next image we have Tewilima, Betty's Neck, and Wampanoag Rye. Alright? That's Serbia Gold Mitchell again. They're descendant of Massasoit, and that's her daughters. I know this picture. Alright? Telewima is right here in the left. Today all three will be considered African Americans. Alright, Serbia Gold Mitchell in the middle as well again. All right, we're in this next website. It's actually the Oxford English Dictionary website. All right, and we're in the word. You already know this word, right? The N word, right? And just want to go to definition number 3 because the first ones we got to dodge the hijack because that's how it's being used today. All right, but they're gonna keep it real on definition number 3, and I want to show you that right now. All right. All right, so definition number 3, it says here, a dark-skinned person of any origin, all right, the N-word, all right, in early U.S. use, usually with reference to American Indians, all right, so it was first used in early U.S., first used in U.S. to reference American Indians. They were calling you the N-word, all right, so that's why when we're saying, did that evolve from the Naga, the Negus, kings, kings, the Nagas, the Khans, alright, the Americans, a Khan, Tamari, Khans, alright, again, Oxford, the English Dictionary, the N-word, alright, definition number 3, alright, again, a dark-skinned person of any origin, not meaning African. Alright? In early US use, usually with reference to American Indians. They were calling you that. Your ancestors, alright? And now, we got this great speech by Frederick Douglass. I forgot I had this. Alright, so we're in the Teaching American History website, and this is the document that's called The Folly of Colonization by Frederick Douglass, January 9th, 1894. Now, just so you don't know, this speech or this document that he wrote, or the speech that he gave, basically was to talk about what was going on, what they were trying to send, free people of color, or right, so-called black Americans, over to Liberia or Nigeria and all these places, colonizing, the American colonization society. So he's talking against that, right? So I want to go to a certain part down here. He goes in on them, man. I'm telling you. All right, so let's just go to a certain part. Let me see. All right. Now it says, better still, they want the United States government to vote the money to send them there. All right. They do not seem to see that if the government votes money to send the Negro to Africa, that the government may employ means to complete the arrangement and compel us to go. It says, now, I hold that the American Negro owes no more to the Negroes in Africa than he owes to the Negroes in America. There are millions of needy people over there, but there are also millions of needy people over here as well, all right? This is Frederick Douglass. And the millions in America need intelligent men of their own number to help them, because he was saying that they were trying to get the best people over there to get the doctors, the wealthy people who were studied, the strongest. They were trying to get those to go over there. He's like, yo, what do no, we need those people here. All right. Again, we need intelligent men of their own number to help them. As much intelligent men are needed in Africa to help her people. Besides, we have a fight on our hands right here. We got our own fight over here. All right. A fight for the redemption of a whole race. A blow struck successfully for the Negro in America is a blow struck for the Negro in Africa, all right? Because those are the descendants. For until the Negro is respected in America, listen to this, he not need expect consideration elsewhere. You're trying to go back to Ghana? You ain't respected over here, Marcus Garvey? So you're saying we should just go to Africa because this is controlled by, this is a white society anyways? We broke that down, right? Why he was trying to send you over there. How can he just say, okay, this is your society, let's go to Africa? This is what Frederick Douglass is telling you right here too. For until the Negro is respected in America, he need not expect consideration elsewhere. All this native land talk, however, is nonsense. What native land talk? We talking about Africa. The native land of the American Negro is America. Why, Frederick? Because his bones, his muscles, his sinews are all American. All right, his bones, his muscles, everything about him. His ancestors for 270 years have lived and labored and died on American soil, and millions of his posterity have inherited Caucasian blood, he's saying. But what he tell you straight up, All this native land talk, however, is nonsense, man. The native land of the American Negro is America. His bones, his muscles, his sinews are all American. All right, that's Frederick Douglass. All right, whether he knew he was fully American, I don't know. But who knows in that time? I know he was a whaler, and he was half, or one of his parents was an American Indian. We already know the other one was too. All right. So again, this was the folly of colonization. This was in the Teaching American History website. All right. All right. And this next link that I have here, it's a book. It says "Change in Race: Latinos, the Census, and the History of Ethnicity" by Clara E. Rodriguez. All right, and let me see. In this part, it says the genre of Casta, right? Cast painting was developed in the beginning of the 18th century, mainly in Mexico and Peru. All right, we're gonna take a look at some examples of the Mexican caste system they had and the paintings they made, and you're gonna see it doesn't it doesn't fit what they tell us about the races during those times, right? So it says the cast paintings were a series of 14 to 20 paintings that depicted families and individuals that had interbred and their offspring. Although little is known about who specifically commissioned them, it is assumed that they must have been wealthy peninsular Spaniard or Criollos. Wealthy Spaniard or Criollo, right? Spaniards. We're gonna see these Spaniards what they look like. That is, persons of full or partial European descent, born and or raised in the Spanish colonies. They were often painted by unknown indigenous or mestizo painters. All right, so I just want to show an example of the cast paintings from Mexico. All right, it says the cast paintings showing 16 racial groupings like not depicted social reality. All right, there's so many of these. I used to have a good collection, and I don't know where I put it. I think it's somewhere in my drive. But I just want to show some examples here. For example, this one right here at the end, it says Español con mora mulata. In Español, this guy with a mora mulata. What does that mean? A mulata? She was very dark. And he came out very dark. Look at that. All right. And it has different examples. Right here at the end, it says Espanol with an Indian mestizo right here. Oh, well, you get mestizos, what they're saying. So this is the Indian. All right. Then you got a mulata or a mulatto. This is the mulatto right here with a Española morisco. All right. This is a Moorish Spaniard, Morisco, right? A Moor converted to Christianity, Morisco. What is a Morisco? All right, look at her. Then you got Morisco, this guy, right? Look at that. This guy right here, he's a Morisco, another Moor converted to Christianity. Spaniard, right? A Spaniard, Morisco, with a Española Chino. With a Española, you get a Chino. So that's what they're calling a Chino, a Moor with a light-skinned Espanol, a Spaniard. A Moor and a Spaniard is a Chino, is what they're saying here. All right, and then we got a Chino, right, which was an offspring of a Moor and a Spaniard. Right, there he goes, to his complexion, and an Indian. All right, Indian. This is an Indian, an Aboriginal. This is an Indian. You see how they're painting them? All right, this is an Indian woman. Indian woman. All right, and then you got a Salta Atias, whatever that means, him, with a Mulata Lobo. A Mulata. Remember the Mulata? They were calling the Indians mulattoes. All right, down here we got a Cambuyo, him, with an India. She's an Indian, Sambigo, and then you get a Sambigo, I guess. That's what they're trying to call these people, these mixtures. But this is the Indian again. Then over here you got an Albarazado with a Negra Cambuyo. Then you get a Cambuyo, they're saying. Then you have a Hebardo con a Mulata, another Mulata right here. All right. Then you got a Lobo with a China. All right. Remember Chinos? They were saying earlier that is the offspring of a Moor and a Spaniard. All right. And then you got a Sambigo here with a Loba Calpamulato. All right. So this Sambigo. What are these people? These Spaniards? What are these? Look at this. So where's all the light-skinned Mexicans? This is Mexico 1800, right? This is a caste system. And then it says here Calpa Mulatto, him, with a Cambuja. All right, Cambuja, her. Then you get a Tente and a Laire. Look at how he's dressed like an Indian. Look at this. You see the little boy dressed like an Indian, right? But they're giving him all these terms, right? You see him dressed like an Indian with the feather and everything. All right, and then you got a tente en el aire with a mulata. No entiendo. It says I don't understand. What is this? And then it says no entiendo. I don't understand with the India Tornatrua. All right, an Indian. Look at her. That's an Indian, a Mexican Indian right there. See, copper colored tribes of America. All right. Now this one was another example. It says here that all right. So let me just try to zoom in. It says the negro española. All right, from a black man, a negro, and a Spaniard, you get a mulatto. That's what you're saying. But look at this negro. Who's this negro? So what is he? A Spaniard, an Indian? Who is he? Look how he's dressed. He don't look like a slave, right? He don't look like a slave to me. Look like he got a land and everything. Got his family. Got his nice gear on. This is in Mexico, all right? This is in Mexico, and it says, all right, collection of Malu and Alejandro Escadon, Ciudad de Mexico, all right, Mexican City. All right, just another example here. It says from mulatto and mestiza. But in the picture it says, let me see. All right, so this is a mulatto. Hey, this guy, who's this guy? And she's a mestiza, all right? But look what he looks like. He don't look like a slave to me. All right, these are 1800 Mexicans, right, in the year 1800s, all right? Oh, no, that's 1715. All right. So you got a mulatto and a mestiza. But I thought they were the same, mulatto and a mestiza. And you get a what? You get a mulatto. So this is how they were classifying everybody back then, all right, in Mexico. All right, so that was just an example of the caste system I had saved up here. I wanted to do a full video. There's a lot. I'm telling you, there's some really revealing ones. I couldn't find them right now. But there's one that show clearly, you know, who the Indian is, like in this last picture here, which says India, her. We show a lot of. All right, now we're gonna see some info and images on the Iroquois tribe and nation. All right, so let's get on to the info part right here. Zoom in a little bit. It says the Iroquois, or Haudenosaunee, people of the Longhouse, are a historically powerful Northeast Confederacy in North America. They were known during the colonial years to the French as the Iroquois League, and later as the Iroquois Confederacy, and to the English as the Five Nations, comprising the Mohawk, Onondaga, Oneida, Cayuga, and Seneca. After 1722, they accepted the Tuscarora people from the southeast into their confederacy, as they were also Iroquois speaking, and became known as the Six Nations. The Iroquois have absorbed many other individuals from various peoples into their tribes as a result of warfare, adoption of captives, and by offering shelter to displaced peoples. Culturally, are all considered members of the clans and tribes into which they are adopted by families. All right, so they originated in Canada and came work their way down into the other parts of North America. All right, there's a lot of info on them and the Iroquois, so make sure to read that. Go to the images. All right, so we're looking at this image right here. It says Seneca natives. Remember the Seneca Iroquois people, the Seneca, wearing traditional clothing, including headdresses. Chief Freeman Johnson, far right. All right, Ellison Park, so far right, this person right here. This is Seneca Iroquois 1927. All right, let me zoom in. All right, what do you see here? So-called Negroes, right? You see this? All right, this is a chief. Do you remember who you are? These are the Seneca people, Seneca tribe, all right? The Seneca. All right. You see? The ancestors honor the ancestors. All right, with their fringes as well. These are the Seneca Iroquois speaking people, the Seneca tribe. All right. Do you remember now who you are? and the chief. Another image right here. This lady, young lady right here, says she's a Wabanaki, Iroquois woman, 1909, from the Wabanaki clan or tribe. All right, see her? Look like a lot of African American women. You might see she's a little more light skinned, right? But you know, that's an Aboriginal. All right, a Wabanaki Iroquois woman. All right. So again, the Seneca, because these are Iroquois-speaking, tribes. The Seneca are a group of indigenous Iroquois-speaking people native to North America who historically lived south of Lake Ontario. They were the nation located farthest to the west within the Six Nations or Iroquois League, Haudenosaunee in New York before the American Revolution. All right. In the 21st century, more than 10,000 Seneca lived in the United States, which has 3 federally recognized Seneca tribes. 2 are in New York, the Seneca Nation of New York, with 2 reservations in western New York and near Buffalo, and the Tohono O'odham band of Seneca Native Americans. The Seneca Cayuga Nation is located in Oklahoma, where their ancestors were relocated from Ohio. All right, Ohio. Again, you see how a lot of these tribes originate in Ohio? That's a very ancient land and origin place to a lot of these tribes. We're going to do a future video on Ohio and its importance and how ancient it is. All right. Now, this happened during the Indian removal. So you think it only happened in certain parts of the country or to the Chickasaw or Cherokee, Choctaw. It actually happened in Ohio, Indian removal as well. All right. Approximately 1,000 Seneca lived in Canada near the Brantford, Ontario, in the Six Nations of the Grand River First Nation. They are descendants of the Seneca who resettled after the American Revolution, as they had been allies of the British and forced to cede much of their lands. All right. And we got this image of this Seneca Indian man. All right. You see him? There's no info. All right, it says Chief Sos Heowa, Seneca, Iroquois, 1849. All right, from 1849. A Seneca. All right, and then we got this other image right here. Just look at him. It says Chief Solomon O'Bale, Seneca, Iroquois, 1872. Solomon. All right, see him? Aboriginal, copper-colored tribes of America. Just look at how he's standing. His look. All right. Another picture of him, Solomon O'Bale, a famous Seneca chief. All right. You see. And we got another image here of a Seneca woman, an Aboriginal. This person will be considered an African American today. All right. This is Gawanta, a Haudenosaunee Seneca, 1913. All right, 1913. Copper-colored tribes of America, Aboriginal, Seneca, with her gear on. Alright, in this next website, I'm in the Canadian Museum of History. Alright, and this is the Treasures Gallery. And we're actually taking a look at the Tshimshian mask. Alright, Tshimshian mask. Alright, look at that. You see those features? Who's that? Now that's an Aboriginal of Canada. Alright, let's just read the information a little bit. It says collected by Israel Wood Powell in 1879 at Kikatla, British Columbia. Alright, up there in Canada, northwest. According to his rather confused records, but more likely at Port Simpson or other northern countries. It says this stone mask has a twin resided in Paris in the Musée Léon. Separated over 100 years ago, the two masks were not reunited until 1975, when the Paris masks traveled to Canada to appear in an exhibition. It was then that the relationship between the two masks, expression of the same face, was discovered. Alright, so it has a history. Alright, again, this is the Tshimshian mask. And I had another tab open on them. See different ones right here. Alright, you see that? Aboriginals Aboriginals from Canada, British Columbia. All right, you get that good. All right, look at this. Who's that? See that? Aboriginals, Northwest Canada. Not just Siberians over there. This is ancient times, right? This is their stonework, pottery, whatever you want to call this. All right, you see that? If you would find this in Africa, you wouldn't even think anything of it. You'd be like, oh, yep, that's an African, right? You wouldn't think nothing of it. All right. See that? Just talking about who's an African? You call me an African? You see him? You see he's a little serious. This guy's serious, man. Tell his features. Don't want to mess with him. Alright? Don't want to mess with these people. Aboriginals, alright? We all know who this is depicting, right? Alright? Any questions? The Tsimshian stone mask of Canada, British Columbia. Alright, I remember saving this one as well. Save this image here. Never went into it, but because we had so much other correlation, I didn't really need to. A lot of people always showing this, but you know, just again, this is from a old book. I think I have the book. I have over 900 books. Just gotta remember which one it's in. But I have this book, and again, they're showing a Asiatic, an American, and an African, right? And in the middle is the American. All right. See that? It says the American or Indian race found only in America is of a deep copper color. Copper color. Do you remember in the beginning? The copper, penny, copper. Who's copper? Who they talking about when they're saying copper? Copper color races. Alright? Straight black hair, high cheekbones, eyes black and sunken large faces and round, robust bodies. Alright? And then this is the African. I don't see a lot of difference, just a little darker, but alright, you see, this whole book was showing you like this. Alright, remember that. Alright, then I had this tab saved up because I ran into these paintings by this person, Albert Icot. He painted a lot of the Aboriginals here in America, especially in Brazil. Alright, and this is one of them right here, this painting right here. Alright, see this? Brazil for the happy few. Alright, Brazil for the happy few. You see that? That's you. And then there's, I know the bigger picture, this is a bigger painting. There's actually more down here. More Indians or Aboriginals. Alright, let's see if we can find the other. Here's another image of that. Alright, you see that? Look at that. These are Brazilians. Brazil for the happy few. Louis. Alright. Says a design by Albert Ecord in France Post. Alright. Brazil for the happy few. This tapestry from a series of 8 named Les Anciens Tentus des Indies, the ancient tinctures or paintings of the Indies, became a gift from one sovereign to another. Oh, tapestries. Alright. You see, tapestries are exceptionally expensive to produce on account of the materials, labor, and time involved. Alright, but who are they depicting here? Brazilians, right? Brazilians from the Indies, Indians. It says, while painting shows this woman standing and looking at the viewer, on the tapestry she is seated and gazing admirably at the figure of hunting Indian in a classical loincloth. She's a hunt, alright? Unlike her counterpart in the painting, she does not wear European jewelry, and her headgear is also different. In her basket, she has flowers and plants, whereas in the painting, this contains fruit. Alright. Brazilians. Alright, these are Brazilians. Brazilians. Alright, because what does this mean? Let's translate. Les anciens tentus des Indies. Let's translate this. So the translation says, Les anciens tentus des Indies, alright? French. The ancient hangings of India, or of the Indies, Indies, India. All right, they were always talking about America. America is India in these old times. All right, they were calling America India. That's why Columbus said he landed in India. All right, the Republic of India today, the country was not named that until like 1947 or something like that. It was called Hindustan before that. All right, but the painting told us clearly, and the guy said he was in Brazil. All right, he painted a lot of different people in Brazil. He's in Brazil, Brazil. All right, bow and arrows, feathers, Brazil. Aboriginals, Brazil. Tropical Amazon, Brazil. All right, now we're gonna take a look at it says here Skitswish or Cour D Alene or Spokane. I guess they're known as different names here. All right, and so let's read about them. It says the Cour D Alene or Chitsuing or Chitswish is the Cour D Alene language, meaning the discovered people or those who are found here. Are an American indigenous nation and one of 5 federally recognized tribes in the state of Idaho. The Cour D Alene have sovereign control of their Cour D Alene reservation, which includes a significant portion of Lake Cour D Alene and its submerged lands. In Idaho versus United States, 2001, the United States Supreme Court ruled against the state's claim of the submerged lands of the lower third of Lake Cour D Alene and related waters of the St. Joe River. It said that the Cour D Alene were the traditional owners and that the executive branch and Congress had clearly included this area in their reservation, with compensation for ceded territory. This area was designated in 1983 by the Environmental Protection Agency as Bunker Hill Mine and Smelting Complex, the nation's second largest Superfund site for cleanup. Alright, so we got this. It says 2 warriors in tradition clothing, Cour D Alene, it says. Alright, 2 warriors. Traditional clothing. You see that? Oh, they got their guns, rifles or shotguns. What is that? Wow. And they got the little swords right here, nice. Alright, 2 warriors. Damn, they're ready to war for real. Let's zoom in on these. Alright. See that? Alright, they ain't playing. They ain't playing. These 2 ain't playing, man. Don't get in their way. He said, call me Mongo one more time, he said. He said, call me Mongo one more time, yo. Call me Mix, man. Alright, we got this other image here now. You see these Aboriginals on the horses, American Aboriginals right here in the horses. It says Skitswish Cour D Alene Indians. Couple Andrew and Elizabeth Yumas are pictured in ceremonial dress on horseback in Idaho. In this undated photo, Andrew Yumas fought in the 1858 Steptoe War. Alright, even the horses got the fringes on, traditional clothing, fringes all over. So that's him and his wife, alright? That's him and his wife on their horses, alright? Let me zoom in to the ancestors, alright? You could understand these are what they would call African Americans today. And they'd say, oh, so all these people that came, that are dark complexion like these people here, came on slave ships, they're descendants of slaves. You're talking about Eidos? What do you mean Eidos? Alright, these are American Indians, Aboriginals, indigenous people of America from here since creation, for thousands of years. Their ancestors, these are Aboriginal people from this area, Idaho. Alright, that's what an Idaho Aboriginal looks like. If you didn't know, this is what an Idaho Aboriginal looks like. Alright? From Idaho. Alright? Dodge the hijack. The horse knows what you're looking at. Alright? Just think about that. All these different places we were looking, a lot of them, you know, you would say, oh, these are all Mongols, but you see there's Aboriginals in these places still. You can see the traces in them, and still in the 1800s. Alright? American Aboriginal people. Ancient. Alright? See that? Idaho. Got another image here. Alright. And let me go to the info. Look at, he's all fringed up. Look at his whole regalia, his feather, his headdress, his clothing. Pimped out, man. got fringes everywhere. Fringes. It says Ignaz Gary, Skitswich Spokane. All right, Spokane. At the Inland Empire Jamboree, Washington, September 10th, 1932. All right, he's being probably paraded around. All right, he's probably being paraded around. All right, Aboriginal. All right, Spokane. Spokane Aboriginal. Heya, heya. All right, this image, this princess right here. It says Lucy Daniels, later aka Lucy Daniels Finley, and Mary Daniels, a later aka Mary Daniels Williams, Cour D Alene. All right, two Cour D Alene children, little girl, indigenous children. All right. The little bags. They're butterflies. She likes butterflies. All right, now we're in this other website, this tab I had saved up as well. It's called Wonders of Nature and Artifice, the Renaissance Quest for Knowledge. All right, this is the website right here. So it's talking about the Souter Map of America. And this is an article by Meredith Denise Stats, all right, in this website. All right, so Matthew Souter. Who was Matthew Souter? The map is called Novus Ordo Civ America Meridionalis et Septentriontalis from Augsburg, Germany. 1730, all right? This was painted in 1730. All right, and these are the engravers. And this is in the Gettysburg College archives, all right? This map, all right? Now let's read a little bit about this map, all right, before we get to the image on it. All right, it says that the map featured in our show, Novus Orbis America, was printed in 1730. The engraving measures 50 centimeters. All right, the map was donated by John H.W. and Mary C. Stuckenberg. It shows the New World, North and South America. The copy special collection on features hand-colored continents. Different stages or regions are colored in yellow, pink, orange, and green. On either side of each continent are islands with trade routes highlighted across the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Also present are two text boxes, both in Latin, one in the upper left-hand corner and another in the lower left-hand corner. The map is covered in detail, and regions appear to be somewhat accurately labeled for what was known at that time. Remember, 1730, all right, Novus Orbis Silva America, all right? Who's holding this? All right, you already see a little bit here. We're going to show you right now. All right, the title bus describes the map, the New World, both South and North America, in the realm of the provinces and islands. According to recent observations and descriptions, divided, carried care and attention by Mateus Souter. Around the text box, the portrayal of native peoples carry explicit racial connotations. Explicit racial, why? Why? Oh, I see why. Because they are so-called Negro. Oh, is that why? They carry explicit racial connotations, all right? He's literally letting you know who the natives are. America, you see the natives he painted? Do you see this, all right? Any questions? This is from the special collections at Gettysburg College, this map, the Souter Map. All right, if you didn't know where this image was coming from, now you know, the Souter Map. All right, I've been had this link saved up. I haven't even shared this with all of you guys. Just keep showing you the image. I've colored depictions of this. All right. These are Aboriginals, Indians, indigenous people, so-called Negroes they're depicting here, right? They're all over the place, all over here in the background. You see here? What is that, tobacco? What are they growing right there? All right, you see this? Who's growing it? That's them. That's them. Ain't no slaves here. These ain't Africans. All right? It can be presumed that these individuals are enslaved peoples of either African or Caribbean descent. It could be presumed. Why would they presume that? Because of your hijack, doctrination, that you think that everybody in all so-called Negroes came out of Africa, so you would presume. But he's saying, or Caribbean. So they're not African if they're Caribbean, right? They would make them Indians anyways. They are portrayed in little amounts of clothing in an effort to make them look primitive. Yeah, right. Others are wearing feathered crowns and arm bands and loincloths. The native people in the background are seen farming cane sugar. The native peoples, native, not Africans. And a new product from the Americas. A new product from the Americas, what? Tobacco, and a now staple in the Europeans' diet. While the majority are pictured laboring, there's a figure underneath the text box lounging in a hammock, while another sails in a canoe. The person that sticks out the most is the figure to the right of the sign, draped in a cape, wearing a more elaborate headdress, jewelry, holding a pike, and is being covered by an umbrella. While this is most likely an improbable scene, this figure may be caricature or play on native peoples, chiefs, or leaders. Alright? Flying just above the enslaved people are birds that look made up. How they enslaved? Oh, okay. I see what they're saying. Hold on, let's get to this. Our birds, alright, so there are two scaled birds that appear to be carrying nails in their mouth, almost as if they are helping in the hanging of the text banner. One of the other birds appears to be a dodo bird, which would have been extinct by the time this map was printed. Really? Exotic animals are a key feature to curiosity cabinets, and the wonder of new species makes these birds' place on the map very fitting. Alright, so what are they talking about? Talking about this figure? You see the Aboriginals right here? And you see the pale-faced people, Europeans. Look at the difference in complexion. They're clearly representing you. Alright. So let's go back to the other image. They're talking about these birds right here. So how are these enslaved people? Where's the enslaved? I don't see any. How's these birds? I don't think when Matur, this is the person's opinion, right? But when Matur Souter drew this, he's not talking about anything about slaves. He is representing Aboriginals in his map, straight up. There's no mystery behind it. There's no racial content. There's nothing like that. They're the ones making it up. All right, again showing Aboriginals right here, and the pale-faced Europeans over here, right? What's the difference? You tell me. All right, who is this? America. Yep, you see who's that, right? He depicted you. This is not John Ogilvy. This is not Arnoldo Montanus. All right, different people did this, not just John Ogilvy. It's like that's not the only book out there. All right. All right, so now we're going to look at some images of the Tohono O'odham people. Tohono. All right, and let's get some info on them. It says the Tohono O'odham are American Indians of the Sonora Desert, residing primarily in the U.S. state of Arizona and the Mexican state of Sonora. Tohono O'odham means desert people. The federally recognized tribe is known as the Tohono O'odham Nation. The Tohono O'odham tribal government and most of the people have rejected the customary English name Papago, used by Europeans after being adopted by Spanish conquistadores. From hearing other Pima bands call them this. The Pima were competitors and referred to the people as Baba Wiko, meaning eating tepary beans. The word was pronounced Papago by the Spanish and adopted by later English speakers. The Tohono O'odham Nation or Tohono O'odham Indian Reservation is a major reservation located in southern Arizona, encompassing portions of Pima County, Pinal County, and Maricopa County. Alright, now very interesting image right here. You know, it says two Tohono O'odham men in ceremonial clothing. Alright, or painting, right? Ceremonial painting and clothing. Alright. See that? You think it's just in Africa they have all these different kinds of tribes and cultures and people and phenotypes? Alright? But these are, copper-colored tribes of America. Alright? Aboriginals of that area. Alright? Dodge the hijack. Alright, we have here a Tohono O'odham, right, woman. You see this? Alright, she got that on her head, balanced. All right, that's a skill. They used to get water like that. Zoom in. All right, whatever you say, she's very, her complexion is very dark. Today you give her a cut, you put her with regular clothes, you wouldn't know she's in the neighborhood or whatever. They'll consider her an African American or say she has to be mixed with black somewhere, right? Or slave or something. But this is an Aboriginal of this region right here. All right, they gotta dodge your own hijack. All right, whatever you think of nations and peoples and races and stuff, you gotta really go ahead and prove that to yourself. So look for the information. All right, they will consider her a black woman today. All right. Again, Tohono O'odham woman. All right. All right, we got this other image now. I have an elder. Now look at this. It says Madhu. This is a Tohono O'odham elderly woman, right? Indigenous woman. Let me back up a little bit. All right. Alright, so you can see. Alright. Today she would be classified as an African American. People might look at this picture and say, was that a slave? No. Alright. Dodge the hijack. Alright, Aboriginal. These are American Indians. Alright, they never showed us before. Indians, they never showed us before. They never showed me an Indian like this. Alright. Another image here says Tohono O'odham woman, 1894. Alright, she's like getting something from the tree. Alright. See that? Got her basket. Alright. Copper colored tribes of America, Aboriginal woman of the Tohono O'odham, tribal people. Alright. Touch the hijack. Alright, another image here. Alright. It says two Tohono O'odham children in traditional dress. Children, huh? These are like women. Or young ladies at least. So you see that? Carrying the bowls for the water. Alright. Aboriginals. Copper colored tribes of America. Alright, so we're in another link I had here stored. It's from the New Netherland Institute .org website, exploring America's Dutch heritage. Alright, New York is actually called New Holland or New Netherland. All those areas that the Dutch had, a lot of states. Just gonna read here. It says, it is difficult to imagine what the first glimpse of New Netherland was like for the 17th century European. Listen to what he's gonna say. A verdant land flowing with milk and honey. It must have reminded the ambitious settler or explorer of the agricultural abundance of the Old Testament's land of Israel. All right, where's the true promised land? All right, what have we been saying? All right, don't forget. This sparsely populated land surely engendered visions of windfall colonial profits and the natives whom most Europeans saw as backward people in need of salvation must have seemed remarkably strange. All right, now they got these Indians of New Netherland, 1671. Let's zoom into them. All right, you see this? I've shown this image before. I think in my very first video, part 1 of the From Indigenous America to African American video, we have this image. All right, so again, Indians of New Netherland, you can see in the writing here, 1671. You see the woolly haired. All right, these ain't no Mongols. All right, you see him? They're living in paradise, like the land of Israel, right? Like the Old Testament's land of Israel. All right, we're in the New Netherland Institute.org website. All right, what are they telling you? Indians of New, these ain't slaves. These are not mixed people. These are not Sambo, mulatto, whatever you want to call African Americans, none of that. Colored, no. These are New Netherland Indians. All right, what tribe that is, we don't know, but we do have the book. I have gone into the book, Look what he's going to say right here. It says, below are several quotes culled from pages of Narratives of New Netherland. We have that book. We read from it, 1609 and 1664. A compilation of accounts of the newly discovered land. Now, one of those down here, let me just read it real quick, then I'll go to the book. It says, in 1609 voyage of Henry Hudson, right? They named the Hudson Bay after him, right? It says, the most well-known early European observer of the land that would become New Netherland and the river that bears his name is Henry Hudson. Unfortunately, the journal of Henry Hudson was lost, but experts are found in other writings. The three quotes below reveal Hudson's assessment of the land's abundance and the ways of the natives. All right, now real quick, look what he says right away. This is from Henry Hudson's own words in the 1600s when he reached Hudson Bay up there. All right, and he says, and quoted, when I came on shore, the Swarthy natives all stood and sang in their fashion. Swarthy. What does Swarthy mean? All right, so real quick, we're in the Merriam-Webster's dictionary, right? The word Swarthy. All right, what does it say? The definition of Swarthy is of dark color, complexion, or cast. A dark complexion, a dark. All right, it says a synonymous with what? Black. Synonymous, black. The black. All right, now we know the definition. Dark, black complexion, dark. All right, and now what we're gonna do is go right to the book. All right, again. So again, we got this book. I got this PDF, this book, the scanned original. Again, original narratives of early American history, narratives of New Netherland. All right, by James Franklin Jameson, PhD, LLD, director of the Department of Historical Research in the Carnegie Institute of Washington. All right, and again, we looked for Swarthy. We're gonna go right to it. This is on page 48, chapter 10. The land and manners of the folk and the great rivers of the mountains. All right, Hendrick Hudson. All right, this is, remember we already quoted him. All right, here it is again. When I came on shore, the Swarthy, again, what does it mean? Black, right? Black, synonymous with black. So again, the black, so-called black natives all stood and sang in their fashion. Their clothing consists of the skins of foxes and other animals. Right, they had fur on, all right, which they dressed and make the garments from skins of various sorts. Their food is Turkish wheat. Remember, in my corn videos, that's what they knew of corn. That's how they called corn in Europe, because it came in through Asia. Turkish wheat was there since ancient times. So you thought it was talking about wheat the whole time. They're talking about corn. And then when Columbus and them started bringing it, the Spaniards started bringing it again. They called it Indian corn, Turkish wheat, Indian corn. They're talking about maize. Their food is Turkish wheat, which is maize. All right, maize, Indian corn. You see the footnote? Maize, Indian corn. Go catch my corn videos. All right. They've been lying to you, talking about it was wheat, which they cooked by baking it and excellent eating. All right, so Swarthy, it's in here. All right, we were able to verify. Let's go back. He also says the land is the finest for cultivation that I ever in my life set a foot upon. It's the most fertile land that he's ever seen. Hendrick Hudson. We're talking about the promised land, all right? True Kemet over here, rich soil, black soil, and it also abounds in trees of every description. The natives are very good people, for when they saw that I would not remain, they supposed that I was afraid of their bows, and taking the arrows, they broke them in pieces and threw them into the fire. You see, they didn't want to scare him away. All right. So again, New Netherlands. All right. Just another link I saved. Here you go. All right, they were black, swarthy, and what? They had woolly hair. All right, that's you they were talking about. Do you remember now who you are? New Netherland. We're talking about New York. All right, Aboriginals. All right, I got this other link, this other image I had here, just from the John Carter Brown Library Collections. All right, they have a lot of good images there, a lot of good, all kinds of things, not just Indian stuff, but all kinds of images. So I just wanted to zoom into this one. Let me just do a full screen of this. All right, so first of all, we're gonna look at the image. All right, do you see this? All right, that's a missionary, one of those friars, right? Priest. All right, so he's in Brazil. So this is a painting from, I believe, the 1700s, and he's in Brazil, you know, evangelizing the Aboriginals there. He calls them Native Americans, but you see. the gear with the feathers and stuff. You see the curly hair, the Aboriginal, the swarthy, dark complexion, copper-colored tribes of America. You see his complexion. You see there's a bunch of them in the background. All right. So he's in Brazil. All right. All right. So on the side, it gives us the information on this image, just in case you want to verify. So it's description here. Antonio Veda preaches to two kneeling Native Americans, right? Aboriginals. That's the hijack. All right. It says Antonio Vieira, missionary, diplomat, and orator, was born in Lisbon, brought to Bahia, that was in Brazil, as a child and entered the Society of Jesus, or he was a Jesuit, all right, in 1623. He pleaded the cause of the slaves and Native Americans, for whom he translated the Catechism, all right. Vieira traveled among the Native Americans in the Amazon, preaching peace. His views were progressive and democratic, both in Portugal, where he served at court, and in Brazil. So time period 1700s, all right, 1750. All right, John Carter Brown Library. All right, so this is from the book right here, Vida de Apostólico, Padre Antonio Vieira. It's a Portuguese book. All right, so just real quick, this is on the archives. This is the book they got the image from. All right, so I'm just gonna zoom into it so you guys can see. All right, Aboriginals, right? And this is the book, Antonio Vieira de Compañía de Jesús, or the Company of the Jesuits, all right, in Brazil. All right, this book is from 1746. All right, 1746. All right, now we're gonna look at the Kalispel people tribe. All right, so let's read their information a little bit. It says the Pent O'Reilly, also known as the Kalispel, are indigenous peoples of Northwest Plateau. Today, many of them live in Montana and eastern Washington. The Kalispel peoples refer to their primary tribal range as Kaniksu. Their traditional territory was reaching up and down the drainage system of the Flathead River, Clark Fork, and Pend O'Reilly rivers. It extended from roughly present-day Plains, Montana, westward along the Clark Fork River to Lake Pend O'Reilly and Priest Lake in Idaho, and the Pend O'Reilly River, meaning not the way meaning river, in eastern Washington and into British Columbia, Canada. All right, so yeah, it had a large territory, right? Let's get to the images. All right, so we got this image right here. It says Kalispel couple wearing traditional dress from 1861. All right, you see them? All right, just zoom into him. Look at him. All right, that's the hijack. All right, that's an Aboriginal, copper-colored tribes of America. All right, now we got a young Kalispel girl. All right, take a look at her. All right, what do you see here? Tell me she wouldn't be classified as an African American child today, or woman. All right, what are we looking at here? Do you remember who you are? You see what I'm talking about? This is an Aboriginal from this area of the United States. You saw that vast territory they occupied, all those rivers from Montana to Idaho to Canada. All right, this is what the original people look like right here. More like her. All right, more like her. You see that? Look back up. Young Kalispel girl. All right, I got this image. We got this collection. I've shown it. All right, a lot. So-called Negro girl, right? You would, or black. This is a a real black, so-called black American right here. This is the one right here. All right, Kalispel. And I'm gonna go up. I'm gonna show you her. Right? She got a little bit more Asian eyes, but she also has the features, right? Look at her features, right? All right. She's also says a Shokomish Indian chief's daughter. Touch her dress, Kalispel. All right. She's a chief's daughter. All right. You see that? You got her, right? And then we got, you can see her hands. Look at her hands. You see that? And we got her again. All right. Do you remember who you are now? All right, so now we're in this other website. It's the American Philosophical Society Library Digital Collections. And when this part, I had saved this link because, I mean, just so I wouldn't lose it. And it says that it's two Tepecano women in native attire. All right, so, all right, these are the Tepecano American Indians, Aboriginals. You see, Tepecano. All right, you see them? You see, so everybody thinks that everybody like past the Mississippi or something is like supposed to be like Mongol or look a certain way, all right? Or that Indians down in the Southwest or in Mexico is supposed to look a certain way, but these are Tepecano, 100% pure blood, all right? We're in the digital library with your collections, all right? Native attire. Let's see the description. It says black and white photograph of two Tepecano women in native attire standing in front of a straw and stone dwelling in Jalisco, Mexico. All right, in Jalisco, Mexico. Creator John Alden Mason, 1885. All right, 1867. All right, so it says 1913, 1917, date issued, origin information. All right, that might be the year it was taken. All right, two Tepecano women. All right. You see that? Again, these two will be considered so-called African American today. All right, but these are Aboriginals from Jalisco, Mexico. Aboriginals from Jalisco, Mexico. Show you Mexicans like this? Do they show you Mexicans or Indians like this? Huh? You see that? So, we're gonna ask you again. When is an Indian not an Indian? It's when he's a Negro. Alright? App the legend, man. Alright? Got this image here, had this link saved up. Alright? Look at that. Alright. This is another link I had saved. You guys have probably seen this before. I thought it was pretty crazy when I first saw it. And I always forget to put it in the video, so here it is. Now look at this. All right, you see the Aboriginal here with the bow and arrow. All right, this is in a baseball game and the opening part of the baseball game from I believe 1925. Let me just go to the description real quick. It says, "True speaker standing by young black boy." It says, original caption. Now this is the original caption. It says a feature of the opening and dedication of the new 125,000 training camp of the Cleveland Indians at Lakeland, Florida, was the presentation of a new mascot. A new mascot. All right, this is what they're saying is the mascot. All right, him, a human being. He's the mascot. All right, and why are they showing him as the mascot? This is the Cleveland Indians, huh? Who answers to the name of Hemp? Hemp, that's his name, to the team. Tris, speaker manager of the Indians, is shown posing with Hemp and apparently wondering whether he was acquired a Cupid, a Hiawatha, or a Robin Hood, or better yet, a Man Friday. All right. Photo by George Reinhardt, Corbett via Getty Images. All right. Can you believe this? All right. So I'm gonna go to the description real quick, and it says that this is from the Corbett Historical Collection, all right, from 21st of March, 1925, all right? Corbett Historical Collection, look it up, all right? It's $500, man. Well, of course, I didn't pay $500 for it, but all right. Do you see how subliminal they are? Did you know this was real? Did you know this actually happened? That's their mascot, all right? And here's just some more info. It says, this is Hawks.com auctions. All right. And it's talking about the image again right here. All right. Here's the same one. All right. They're also selling it and auctioning it off. All right. All right. More zoomed in. All right. Again, says 1825 on the reverse. Supposedly, item description shows manager Trish Speaker in uniform on field with a young African American boy dodged a hijack. How do you know he's African American? How do you know he's from? You show me his genealogy. All right. This was a mascot. Ham. Never said nothing about African on the original notes. Standing next to him holding a bow and arrow. So he's holding the bow and arrow. As crowd and stands look on. Paper caption on reverse includes opening of. Alright, so this is what on the back of it the description says. Alright, this is the part where they're talking about. Let's see if we can zoom into this. Alright, so it's this orange part right here. This is the reverse of the picture. Alright, we're gonna go back. And it says opening of new 125,000 athletic field at Lakeland, Florida. Their training camp. Alright, Hamp. That's his name again. Ham posed with manager Trish Speaker after his presentation to the club, noting Commissioner Kennesaw Landis was in attendance and the dedication was held on March 17th. Reverse also has ink stamp from John L. Morris, Lakeland Chamber of Commerce. Photo has it handling creases, mostly just visible and reflected light and small tear. Alright, so this is a real picture. Again, this is what they think of you. They know who you were. Alright. Cleveland Indians, you know them, the logo. It's controversial. You know they've changed it. Alright. And you see who they got as the mascot for the opening field that day with a bow and arrow. A so-called African American boy. He's an Aboriginal. He's a real Indian. Alright, that's Florida. He's most likely a Seminole. Alright. They know. Do you know? Do you remember who you are? Look how they paraded you around. That's the mascot. That's the little Cleveland Indian. He's the little Indian. Alright, Cleveland Indians. He ain't no African. If they're Indians, why didn't they go get an Indian? Right? The Native Americans, right, that we see today. Why didn't they go get one of those? Alright, as the mascot. Why would they get that? That had nothing to do with the whole image would be wrong, but this is the image of they knew of Indians at that time. They still knew. Alright.